Okay, next speaker, Fabio Gervasoni, Senior UX UI Lead for HCL Digital Solutions. He's gonna talk a little bit about how to make your communities look beautiful. I'll let you introduce yourself, Fabio. And,
thank you, Wannes.
Take it away.
Thanks very much. Let me get my screen share. Right. Thanks very much. Thank you for inviting me over to speak today. I'm gonna quickly introduce myself. I joined HCL a bit over a year ago as one of the lead designers for digital solutions, and I've been mainly working on connections and same time as a designer, really, as a lead designer. My background is in traditional graphic design. I work both agency and client side, and this last year at HCL it's been interesting, really. As you might have guessed, I'm by the name and by the strong accent, I'm Italian, but I'm based in London, UK. And yeah, today I'm just going to give you a bit of a different perspective on connections, hopefully. Making the most of the highlights and how you can bring a bit of design thinking into that. And I'm not going to use any jargon, any difficult or particular concepts, really. What I'm going to do today, I'm just going to give you a few very basic design principles, and it's just about how to organize elements on a page and what things to keep in mind while doing so. Then I'm going to switch over to connections. We're going to have a little play on just a test community and applying some of these principles. And that's hopefully going to be our 20 minutes, half an hour, and then I'll share a few resources that can be useful for you, and then we'll open up for questions, really. So let me get into it. So, and I'm calling it web design, but this applies to anything that is design, really. There was a quote from a famous designer that says, the best design is the one that you don't see. So everything is about allowing the user to reach their goals onto any page. Everywhere they are, they need to reach a goal. They need to fulfill their needs in the simplest possible way. And consistency and simplicity are just two very broad concepts that we always should keep in mind when putting something together. And I'm not saying designing, I'm just saying putting something together on a screen for someone else to use. Consistency and simplicity will allow, keeping that in mind, will allow whoever uses our solutions to easily find things on the page and easily get to where they need to get. How do we achieve consistency and simplicity? So there's I'm going to give you a few tips here, and luckily connections take care of some of these already. So consistency can be achieved with layout, color, and typography, and connections already help us on the layout side of things on the highlights page, just because we have preset layout grid. So working on a grid, and this is true for everything. So anything that goes on a page or on a screen follows a grid, a layout grid that serves a function. So the function is to organize element in a meaningful way. Color gets used to highlight some of those elements, and typography as well. So contrasting things on a screen and keeping all of those things as consistent as possible will allow us to put something together that serves a purpose. And again, it's allows the user to get to things as easily and quickly as possible. So there's a few tips that I put down on this slide. So try and avoid the clutter layout. Yes, the connections helps us on on keeping things tidy, but there's still, in each of the widgets that we use, there's still things that we can try and do to just try and avoid having elements in a put together in a cluttered way. Avoid using too many colors, and this is true for anything. Even when you put together a Word document, 9 times out of 10 you only use black and white. We can go a bit further than that, but at the same time we need to be careful and not using too many different colors that don't have a meaning really. That are just for a visual candy sort of sake really. If we decide to use colors, try and choose colors in a careful way. Try and use colors that go well together. Maybe you've seen them before. Maybe you can use some online tool, and I'm going to give you some pointers later on how you can use colors in an effective way. Typography, again, try to avoid using too many fonts and font sizes. It goes on the consistency side of things as one of the main principles we should try and stick to. And again, even here, Connections helps us in keeping it to a minimum. But if we create our own hierarchy of fonts, using always the same font size and font weight for titles and headers, and using always the same one for body copy, that will make things easier for us to design, for us to put together on a page, and for the user to actually scan our pages. Always make sure to ensure readability, and this goes a bit further. And I'm using the term readability here. I didn't want to go too far into accessibility. It's a complicated discussion, but if you use a white text on a light background, maybe that's not the best idea because some screens may not be visible. Or if you use try and use things that have enough contrast really. Watch for symmetry and alignments. Again, the layout features of Connections help us here, but there's still things that we can try and do to keep things consistent and aligned in a symmetric way. The human brain is drawn towards things that are properly aligned and tidy in a nice and clean way. So and on the opposite end of the scale, something that it's too it's not perfect. No, I'm not saying perfectly aligned, but things that are not aligned, that they don't have a reason to stay together and to be together, look off-putting straight away without even looking at what the content is. So we need to draw the attention of the user in a specific way. Simplicity as well can be achieved in different ways. So both simplicity and consistency intertwine to each other anyway. So I'm giving you a series of concepts that can be exchanged. But again, on the simplicity side of things, keep in mind that creating some sort of contrast helps to give a hierarchy, as I say on this slide in the middle bit, visual hierarchy. Draw the attention of the user to where the most important things are. Creating things that are putting things on the page in a structured way. And we're gonna go into an example in a second, but we want to create a layout that has a specific content. Think of an article on a newspaper. An article on the newspaper has a title, as an abstract, and then there's the actual content. A page is the same, just that you have different elements. You don't only have text, you don't only have the copy, you have images, you have different sizes of modules on your page, and you want to try and keep things organized in a way that it's easy for a user to follow. And then this sort of falls into the fact that the human brain scans pages in a certain way. So there's the famous F pattern of scanning a page. So you go from the top to the bottom in sort of a top left to bottom right sort of way, often in an F pattern. So this is something that, again, we can keep in mind when putting things on a page, giving the most important bits on the left-hand side and then going down and to the right in organizing our content. So again, a few tips at the bottom here. Try and think of highlighting important elements, either by size or by color. So this is especially true when you've got text paragraphs that can be too long. Choose suitable layout grid for content. So this is specific to connections. This is something that we need to keep in mind when working with templates or working with our own layouts, to think of what kind of content will go well in that specific layout grid, and I'll dig a bit deeper into this when we go into onto connections. Use images with purpose. So the easiest way, and we're gonna see this in a sec, it's the easiest way to make a page more interesting is just to add a bit of visual elements, and visual elements are images 9 times out of 10, unless you have illustrations or other sources of videos. So images is the simplest way, it's the things that we get more access to, and they will be easy to include in most of the widgets that we have that we're going to use in connections. So, but at the same time, don't plaster your highlights page with images only, just because you're going to lose focus and you're going to lose the user's focus. You're not going to achieve what you want to achieve if you just put an image everywhere, really. Avoid wall of text paragraphs. This goes back to the first bullet points on the left, to highlight important elements. Yes, sometimes you have to show something that is a long text of paragraph because it's important, because it needs to be on your main community page, but try and break it up. And this is, it's not just connections, it's on everything really that has a lot of text. You can use bullet points, you can use headers, and that leads to the next bullet point here. Trying to create a hierarchy of content that it's easier to read and it's easier to scan. The last one here is something that sometimes people don't think about, but try and watch the length of a line of text. So again, especially in connections, we have the possibility of having one of the widgets that go from edge to edge, but we really want to try and avoid to put a full block of text with a very long line of characters that goes from one edge to the page to the other, just because it's difficult to read. There are some rules around this, so 45 to 75 characters is one of these rules. I would say, anything between these two is acceptable and is easier for a user to read. 60, 65 is what we usually use as an ideal length for a line. So this is sort of a bit of an introduction that I wanted to give you, and hopefully bring a different perspective into how you've been looking at connections and how you've been looking at highlights so far. Let me just switch over to connections now. Right, what we're gonna do now, I'm just gonna quickly, and I've got some, just for the interest of time, I have some pre-set text and images, links and things that I'm gonna use while we go through this. Let's create a new community. We're just gonna start from scratch on a simple new community. We're just gonna call it Let's Connect demo. I'm gonna put a very simple placeholder text here for now. We'll keep it public. Let's upload an image. as an avatar. And let's go to the next step. I'm not gonna, the template size you see here are different from the one that you probably have. So I'm probably gonna stick with the default one, and it's gonna be easier for us for now anyway. I know one is mentioned about templates. Maybe we can do another one of these webinars on just on templates. So I'm gonna go to next steps. I'm not gonna add members for now, and I'm gonna skip over the optional settings so we get to the community straight away. Right. We've got our community with, and you're gonna see now in a sec, a very standard default widgets and apps on our community homepage, highlights page. So let's straight away, let's have a look at the layouts and let's think what we want to have. So we see here that we got blog, important bookmarks, members, files, community description, rich content, wiki, tag cloud, and forums. Maybe they're not arranged in the best way. So one thing we can go and check straight away, maybe we want the community description to be at the top. Maybe we want that to be maybe on a couple of columns instead of just one. Let's go through the customize panel and let's see whether there's a layout we can use that is more suited to our needs really. I might go with this one, which is going to allow me to have a module on the top left that goes across two columns, and then it's going to keep a right-hand column constant on here. So yeah, this is something that could work for our purposes. But now we have the blog up here, which I'm not really don't really want to keep at the top. So let's swap a few things around. Let's move the community description up here. We can keep the blog there. We have a rich content down here. We can swap it with members. Tag cloud would probably work better on the right-hand side. Forums might work better on a larger one. Right. For now, let's see. Let's say we're okay. This already starts to follow a more logical approach. We have the description of our community at the top. We can do whatever we want with rich content. So we're probably going to add an image and some text to this rich content box. Then we have files that probably, let's see whether we keep it here or not. Important bookmarks, blog, members, weekend forums down there. Let's see. Let's carry on with populating a few things and then we'll decide. So let's start from the community description. If I go and edit this, we see that there's an editor that allows me several of the connections widgets and apps will allow you to do this. Some others will have a different way, and we're going to see it in a sec. So what I'm going to do now, I'm probably going to delete the description that I put when I started the community. Let's say we want to put an image there and some more of a longer descriptive copy. I've prepared an image already for this, and it's just a URL link of an image, of a generic image, really. Let's put some alt text, community description image. Let's leave the width and height as they are. Let's maybe allow a bit of horizontal and vertical space, which will give, as you can see from the preview down here, will give a bit of an edge around the image. Let's set it to the left, no border. Okay, fine. Oh, okay, that's looking all right. It's taking pretty much half of the module that I'm using at the moment, this community description. Now let's put some text into it. So, and I'm copying from outside my screen. You can't see it, but I've got just preset text that I'm going to use here. So this is just placeholder text, doesn't mean anything. What I'm going to do straight away is, okay, I know that this is the title, then I've got a bit of a block of text. Let's split this into a few paragraphs, so it's going to look a bit tidier. Oops. And then one other thing we could do here is begin to apply some text formatting. Really, now it's all the same size and weight. What we can do here, we can decide, okay, this is a header. Let's make the header. Let's keep Arial for now. Let's make our header 16, and maybe we make it bold as well, so it looks a bit more in line with everything else that's on the page anyway. Then let's select the full text here, and let's say that our body copy is 14. So let's try and stick to these. Wherever else we encounter editable text on our page, we've decided that all of our headers are Arial 16 and bold, and all of our copy is Arial 14. Cool, that looks all right. I could do more here, as in adding links or lists or tables. For now, let's leave it like this. Save and close, and let's see how it looks, really. Right, it looks okay. There's a few things like alignments that are gonna get difficult to control, but one of the things that I can do here, maybe I can go back into the edit. If you right click on the actual image, you can go back to the image properties, which is what we had before. Maybe we do 8 instead of 10 for horizontal and vertical space. Maybe it lines up the image a little bit better. It sort of does. It's not great because it gets closer, but let's leave it like this for now. Now, we have this rich content widget down here. It's an app, actually. It's not even a widget in this case. So this is something that we can, if I go and add content, I'm going to get a similar editor where I can put in this case, which is useful. I can put in an image on my computer. I don't need to have an image uploaded onto my files and then copy the link or bring an image in from anywhere else. So let's browse, and I've got an image prepared here that I know that already that it will take the width of the rich content. So it's just a generic image of, oops. Now let's go down here and put in some text. So here we're going to do the same thing that we've done on the community description. I'm going to change the font size to 16 for the header. And then we're going to change the font size of the body copy to 14. Let's save these and see how it looks. Right, our page is sort of taking shape, really. So what else can we do here? We can probably try and organize, if we want to add another couple of widgets that include an image to just give a bit more interest to the page. One of the widgets that I often recommend using is the teaser widget, just because it's an easy way to include something on a highlights page that has an image and some text, and we can keep it simple. There are some caveats to these. We can make it a bit more complex if we want to, but it's just an easy way to add something that can add a bit of interest to our page. So let's say I want to move this to the right hand side. Let's edit it first, and then we decide where to put it. So as you can see, this works in as similar to the other widgets. Really, we've got a widget title up here. Let's call it latest events. We've got display settings. Let's keep the height on auto for now. Caption and abstract. What I'm gonna do here again, I've got some placeholder text that I'm gonna use for the title, and I'm gonna use some placeholder text for the abstract, which is gonna have a bit of copy. Then let's add an image. And again, I've got an image that is already sized, and I can give you more information about that later anyway. But yes, that's how I'm not gonna add the link for now. I'm gonna leave it as it is. You can add the link, both the text and the image would be clickable, and we can decide to open it in a new window if we want to. So let's save this. Okay, this looks okay. Let's go back to the top of our page, and yeah, maybe we move it close to the main. Let's see if we move it up onto this right-hand column. Right, this looks okay, and we can probably leave the blog up here, important bookmarks. Our page is beginning to take a bit of shape, really. So we've got community description with nice images of some copy. And as you can see, there's some differences here, which we can try and fix in a minute anyway. This is very similar to the one we have up here. So I'm fairly happy with what I have at the moment. Let's bring in another teaser onto our page. Let's leave it here for now, and let's just edit it. So we're gonna call these holidays, just because I know what the image is. Doesn't mean anything really, because it's still placeholder text. Caption and abstract, let's bring in some copy and again, I'm not gonna add anything more to here. So the only things that I've done here before, I just resized these images really. So let's save this as well, and maybe we can decide, we can see whether we can move these to maybe closer here instead of files. So one thing we can do once we've sort of populated our page, we need to keep in mind the fact that, you know, as the community progress, we're gonna have things on the blogs, we're gonna have things on files, we're gonna have things on the wiki. So there will be things that will even out the page. As you can see, the layout is fairly tidy. Now we added a few bits onto the page. Let's move these up a bit. Let's move these holidays widget up here, maybe instead in terms of files. Yes, okay. Yeah, maybe we'll keep the files up here. It's actually all right. Cool. So fairly satisfied with how the page is going. Now, the only thing that bothers me a little bit is the fact that the teaser widget comes center aligned. It's not, you know, it's not a big deal, but there are ways to fix that in Connections without going too crazy. And I'm going to give you just this is something that, you know, it's a little bit more advanced, because we're gonna include some HTML here just to make things a little bit different, really. So the main thing we're probably gonna do is we're gonna make the header bold. So, and just by bolding something here, we're just gonna use the B tag as HTML, because these are actually support HTML tags. So that's the main thing we're gonna do here for now. The other thing we want to try and do, maybe try and left align it. And, you know, I'm not a big HTML expert myself either. I just had to Google how to try and left align. What's the code for left aligning, really? So in this case, we're just going to use these paragraph style that tells that all of this needs to be left aligned. And let's see if it works. If we close the tag. And I know this for you is going to be a bit more, all right, it's not showing for some reason. That happened to me before. Let me just paste it again. I don't know why it's not doing it now, but let's see if I do it on the title, whether it does anything differently. Okay. Doesn't look like it's liking it now. It did work earlier, but you know, that's the downsides of a live demo anyway. But yeah, there's a way to include HTML tags in something like these to just try and do and change things in a way that will allow us to shape it the way we want it. Let me give it another go. Let's see. No, doesn't seem to like it. I don't know. It's one of the maybe temperamental things that sometimes Connection has. But yeah, I mean, we've got to a fairly reasonable layout. There's a few other things that we could use that are that will allow us to even enrich. And I, you know, as with everything really, there could be a bit of trial and error that you're gonna have to do to get to the bottom of making the page look the way you want. But you know, we can keep using teaser widgets. We can use rich content teasers, even widgets. Even though with rich content, we need to be careful where we pull the content from. And then media gallery, videos, and iframes are some of the other things that we could try and use if we want to make an iframe. You know, you want to iframe a YouTube video, for example. That would be a very easy thing to do just by copying the embed code that you can find on YouTube. Right, that's pretty much it from me, really. I hope you got some useful information, and we can of course pick this up offline. I would be more than happy, and I'm hoping that this is you know, the first of a series of opportunities for us to try to start to talk and get more in touch with each other, really, and you know, so you guys can contribute and give us a bit of insights on your day to day, so that we can going forward we can contribute as much as we can to the next releases, really. I'm gonna this is the last slide from me, really, just some free resources for things that you may want to do that are not necessarily design things. So Pexels, the first website here on the list, is just a free stock images website. Most of you probably know Unsplash. Pexels is another one, and especially for business and more corporate, less lifestyle uses. It's a nice website. It's free. You can do whatever you want with the images that are there. There's no payment, there's no registration or nothing. Second link in the list is Pixel, which is it's just a very simple online image editor. You upload an image, you want to crop it, you want to resize it, you want to flip it, you want to make it bigger or smaller, you can do it easily with Pixel. And again, no registration, no fees, no nothing. And the last one is just an easy way of finding colors that go well together and that can be used together, just in case you want to start experimenting with background colors, with changing colors to text and different things on your page. Yeah, it's just a useful tool of where you can actually start from one color and you can then see what color combinations can come from there, or just select things that already exist that other users are put together and they've made available for everyone to use. So that was me, really.
Great. That was awesome. Thank you very much, all of you, for joining. And let's see each other again in 2 months. And let's hope we have some exciting updates for you. Have a great morning, afternoon, night, evening, wherever you are.